very confident in our coaches and the players that we have.
Time to get serious.
Hopefully we can hit the ground fast.
And having a growth mindset of continuously getting better.
Everything that we're doing right now, it has a rhyme and a reason.
I want this team to win, no doubt. This organization to win.
I've been very pleased with Josh and his investment and also his leadership.
Coach McDermott talks about be you with us, and that's all we're trying to do here.
And have a good start, and then just continue to get better every time.
We're just trying to uphold the standard of Buffalo Bills football.
Welcome to the Buffalo Endzone season preview special. I'm Kevin Carroll along with Andy Young as usual. Former Bills wide receiver Stevie Johnson will join us in a bit as we look at the offense and the defense and everything involved heading into this 2024 season. What we think will be full of surprises this year, Andy.
The extravaganza of the fall. A little chill in the air in the evenings. Football season is here. We are really excited, Kevin. Had a chance to catch up with Bills general manager, we had a chance to catch up with Bills wide receiver Khalil Shakir, as well as play-by-play man Chris Brown as he's getting ready for the season. We've got it all ready to go here on the opening drive.
Yeah, let's start with that opening drive right now, and we'll bring in the aforementioned Stevie Johnson, former Bills wide receiver. Stevie, welcome aboard as we kick things off here. First off, we do this opening drive. Give us your opening thoughts as we head into this season on the 2024 Buffalo Bills.
Good to hear from you guys. Good to see y'all handling business. And my opening drive, I'm going to start off hot. 13 wins. Mark it. Buffalo Bills, 13 wins this season.
All right, and I'm going to mark this, Andy. I am really curious. I'm one of those guys who thinks sometimes the key to getting over that hump is just a little change. And I brought this up to you before. I think back to the 04 Red Sox when they moved on from their star, Nomar Garciaparra, and they got to that World Series and ended up winning. I kind of look at this Bills team as the same way. The decision to move on from Stefon Diggs opens up the door for a lot of options on offense. Need that defense to hang on. But again, this might be a more explosive offense.
A lot of changes for the Buffalo Bills in 2024. I'm excited to see the new leadership group. They lost 6 of 8 captains. Of course, you retain the likes of Josh Allen and some other key players, but who steps into those key prominent roles to take over leadership for the Buffalo Bills this season?
Hey, we're all going to get to that and more. Now, receiver under the microscope this year. Those 2 key pieces gone and a handful of others looking to fill the void. But they have a positive outlook as we get ready to kick off the season with these new weapons at Josh Allen's disposal. One of the biggest question marks going into the 2024 season is how the team will replace the production of Stefon Diggs after the Bills moved on from him and Gabe Davis this offseason. Josh Allen got ahead of it early in training camp when asked if he missed having Diggs on the roster.
Steph's a great player, and what he brought to this team was special. So miss is I don't know if I'd say miss. He was a guy that was reliable. You can look to. He's going to have the juice each and every day. I'm sure he's bringing it over there in Houston. So definitely, you can't say that you don't miss that. But I am very happy with what we got going on here and how hard the guys have been working.
What they got going on is 5 wide receivers on the 53-man roster. Just one that actually caught a ball from Allen in a game that mattered. Khalil Shakir expected to have a much bigger role this year after playing behind Diggs and Davis. He's also now a leader in the locker room, letting the new guys know what's expected.
That's on all of us to make sure that guys who've been, whether the guys who've been here or you just got here, we are all well aware of what the standard is. That's something that hasn't been spoken about or talked about.
And those new guys start with rookie Keon Coleman, expected to make an impact early in his career, and veterans like Mac Hollins, Marcus Valdez-Scantling, and Curtis Samuel, who all bring a different talent to the table.
I feel like that's the great thing about the room that we have. We have a lot of guys with so many different skill sets and so many guys that can do so many different things that, it brings a dynamic, type of feel to the offense. Anytime I touch the ball, I'm trying to make something happen, just get vertical as fast as possible, try to split defenders.
All these new faces on offense will help match the production the Bills have been used to the last 5 years. All right, and here we go. Stevie, let's start with you. Wide receiver by trade. When you look at what the Bills decide to do, 5 wide receivers, I didn't see that one coming at all, but that's where they're at right now. Your overall look at the group of wide receivers the Bills decided to go with.
My overall look, I'm hopeful. I love the fact that, coaches decided to go with that 5 receiver. That shows that they understands the type of team that they have. We may not be leaning on the passing game as much as we're leaning on them to just make plays and be in position to make plays. So I'm cool with it. And like I said earlier, when your captain, the captain of your team has a clear head, sky's the limit. And when your captain of the team is Josh Allen, I'm thinking Super Bowl.
How does the dynamic, Stevie, change when you go from a guy who was a bell cow wide receiver, a number 1 guy, no doubt about that, one of the top 5 receivers in the league over the last 5 years in Stephon Diggs, and now you go to more of a receiver by committee, and they're trying to figure out who that go-to guy is on the fly. How do you make how that will all play out throughout the course of the season?
Well, you got to just let things happen. It's all situational. You don't attack the season thinking I have to compare with the numbers that I just lost. You just think about how do I make this team even better, complete. Not necessarily trying to find it in one person. Now we're mixing up those 1,000 yards with different ways as opposed to just going certain ways in certain looks in the game. Now we can get those yards cumulatively through the air or through plays that's pretty creative with our running backs.
Curtis Samuel, Andy, I'm going to go to you because you've been with the team all summer long. Curtis Samuel banged up, was back at practice today, ready to go. Talked to him after practice, all the right things. Seems like one of the more interesting pieces going into the season as far as options that the Bills can move him around and do different things with him.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel had his best season of his career back in 2020 with the Carolina Panthers, when his offensive coordinator was none other than Joe Brady. The Bills have likened Curtis Samuel to a Swiss Army knife, a guy who was a running back in college at times at Ohio State, comes to the NFL, plays receiver. He's a guy who can do jet sweeps. He's a guy who can play in the slot or play outside. He's got that yards after catch ability that the Bills have been chasing for so long. And yeah, he had the turf toe issue, but hey, he's been out there the last couple of practices, full go here as the Bills get ramped up to take on the Cardinals, and he's a guy, a chess piece, somebody who you can create matchup issues with. I look forward to Josh Allen and Joe Brady trying to do just that.
Stevie, Keon Coleman taken at the top of the 2nd round of the draft, but still, he's a rookie, but there are plans for him in the Bills' immediate future. When you look at a role like that and you going into your rookie season, not as much pressure on you, but still a rookie that's going to be leaned on coming up.
Yeah, the good thing about having a rookie like Keon Coleman is he's experienced a lot, and coming into this role that he has, like you said, it may seem like there's a lot of pressure because, you're a top pick, but not really, when you have guys like Mac Hollins who's been around. We got guys like we spoke of, Curtis Samuel, Valdez Scantlin. You got a lot of guys that's been in the league. So it gives you that comfort, that you can ask certain questions, the questions that, a lot of the fans don't really get to hear, come from a confident rookie. But, Keon's very dynamic. And I think the guys that's around him is going to make him a very well and complete receiver for later on in the season when he really developed that pace and understand how to utilize his skills.
Stevie, do you see him early in his career being a viable red zone threat? You saw him in the preseason get a couple of targets there. They really looked his way in that regard. Somebody who can just go up and get the ball in the end zone and be a guy that's a safety valve when you're in close and things are in tight.
Right now, to be honest, I see him as a threat, You know, I wouldn't say I would line it up and just be looking exactly that way. You know, if Josh had to scramble or put a ball somewhere, then I think Keon, he's definitely, you can throw it anywhere and get it to him. But right now, I just seen a little bit that he's moving fast in that red zone. But once he's, like I said, slow himself down and understand pace, that certain movements that he can make will get DBs to move certain ways, then he'll open up that separation gap. So I'm not really worried right now. But later on, I would see him being a viable piece in that red zone.
And now we go to this. You know, we talk about the wide receivers and the new look and how that's going to pan out. We also got to remember Dalton Kincaid was picked up by the Bills, Stevie, for a reason. And while he's a tight end by name, a lot has been made about he's more of a wide receiver than your classic inline tight end that's going to block a lot. He'll be used more in the passing game. He makes that jump now from his rookie season to a second season where last year, early on, he played behind Dawson Knox, but now above, and we'll see Dawson Knox out there at the same time as Kincaid too. But again, here you have another young guy who the Bills expect a lot from, who's coming into his sophomore year, and we always hear about that sophomore jinx, Stevie, looking for them to avoid that with Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah, oh man, look, Dalton Kincaid, I'm really high on Dalton. I love the pick. I was hoping we was gonna get a shifty hybrid type tight end, and when we selected him, I was, oh, let's go. You know, yeah, they do have they call it the sophomore jinx, but now you got to understand it's a different dynamic. When you have that sophomore jinx, most times back in those days, you still had the same team that you was going in with. Now, this is not necessarily the same team, you know, like we spoke on earlier. Losing a guy like Diggs, like I said, you're not going to find it in one person. You find it in multiple guys. And I think Kincaid is going to be one to benefit off of a lot of those targets that Gabe and Stephon took up, you know, along with the receiver by committee. But Kincaid, he's special. I felt like he could have had 100 catches last year, and I'm just looking forward to him elevating from what he done last season.
Also, when we talk about guys coming back from injury, also healthy, practiced in full today, Andy.
Yeah, certainly a special teams ace there in Quentin Morris. Doesn't get a ton of time with the regulars on the field, but, you know, he'll have his chances out there. So I think Quentin Morris is a guy who has shown an ability to play special teams, to be a blocking guy, and just be reliable out there for the team.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we've gone this far into the show without really talking about Josh Allen, but yes, named captain along with Terrell Bernard. We'll get into more of that with Bernard coming up a little bit later on in the show. You expected Josh Allen to be captain, of course, Stevie, and the leader of the offense, but he's the guy now. I mean, they set this team up for him to be the guy, the captain, the leader, Josh Allen. This is your team now. You had Stephon Diggs to help you get to this point. Now the role for Josh Allen is to make the players around him better rather than bringing players in to help Josh Allen become the quarterback he's become.
Absolutely, and I'm so excited. That's what makes this season so exciting. You know, it's like, what are we going to get? Which 17, which greatness are we going to see? You know, we don't have Diggs. Let's see what he can do without Diggs. Let's see what he can do with these new guys. And just so many questions, but it's like that's what we're here for. We're here to support our team and see our guys be warriors and see new guys step up into roles that, you know, they've always dreamed of being in. So I'm looking forward to this year. It's a big prove-it year, and with no stress or no pressure, to be honest. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, when you watch Josh Allen, this is a guy who perhaps has the most talent of any quarterback we've ever seen in the league. And yeah, he makes a few mistakes, and he's got that gunslinger mindset, and he gets that sugar high Josh sometimes where he's just trying to get out there and make a play. But if he can rein in the turnovers just a tiny bit and continue on the path he's been, I mean, why not look at this guy as one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the NFL? You can't take the crown away from Mahomes till you go out there and beat him and do it consistently. But Josh, my goodness,
Absolutely.
Just such a tremendous player out there, and I'm excited to see even more of that as he continues to evolve his leadership.
All right, real quick before we go to break, Joe Brady, now offensive coordinator, came in the middle of last season. Stevie, you involved with coordinator changes throughout your career. What's that like to adapt to? And What do you think it means to play under the same system with Joe Brady now in place over the offseason going into the regular season?
It's difficult to, it's the way you study, basically. If you know how to study a playbook, then, it may be nothing. It may be a smooth transition, but, a new offensive coordinator, they all bring in a new playbook. They bring in new schemes, new words. Ultimately is the same, but to some people it can lag on, but with Joe being there earlier in seasons past, I think the guys is more so not worried about playbook, but it's more of I'll play for this guy. This guy's a player's coach. I feel him. You know what I'm saying? He's here. He's real. We have conversations. So I think playbook wise is no issue. And the best thing is he's a player's coach. So guys is going to take on to what he say very well and easy.
You mentioned this a little bit earlier. You thought the Bills might lean more on the run game a little bit under Joe Brady than perhaps they had under Ken Dorsey or Brian Dable. Do you think that can benefit Allen, especially without that bona fide number one wide receiver out there?
Absolutely. Because when you look at it, it's all entertainment. We love to see the Showtime plays, the ball in the air, go up and get it. But when it comes down to it, you need to get that sneaky 4 to 5 yards early in your possession so that you can keep building these first downs. It's a long game. You can start off hot, but if you don't have that running game, that's going to be that comfort zone for you, or a nice tight end or receivers that understand space and spots. You need that run game. So I really love what we did with Ty Johnson, James Cook, obviously evolving, and then my sleeper, Ray Davis. I love his game, and I'm looking forward to the Bills' running game stepping up this year.
One guy you may have noticed we have not talked about yet is the leader of the wide receivers right now going in, Khalil Shakir, the guy who's been on the team. We did that for a reason. Andy caught up with the Bills wide receiver post-practice earlier today. We'll have that interview and more. You're watching Buffalo Endzone.